Hi, everyone. Welcome into Primetime TV Show. We are so excited. I'm Barbara Marville Kelly. With me is my partner, not in crime, but my partner in life. Hello, Dennis Kelly.
Well, hello there, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm doing good. And we're still wishing everyone Happy New Year. And today, our show is all about giving you some of the tips and delving into the 6 steps to the fountain of youth, which is our daily Bible for healthy, optimal living. And we're going to be talking about this and as I say, delving in a little bit deeper. When we get to one of the chapters where we're talking about supplements, we're going to give you some heads up on some of the things that we personally do. And what's great about this show is we're giving you up-to-the-minute, current updates on our lifestyle, and we never make any claims to cure or diagnose disease ever, 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 but we have so many people asking us, what are we doing to live a healthy life? Right, champ?
Absolutely.
And he's really scaring me because he's doing so darn good. He's liable to be at the U.S. Open this year in July.
Yeah, that's hard to get people to believe that. Unfortunately, I shouldn't be the exception. That should be the rule.
I know. Well, you know, it was hard for people to believe that you went at age 78, took your 6th world title, and even before that, you kept coming out of retirement, one right after another. And believe me, we need no more trophies in the trophy room, as my grandson calls it, right?
I gave a whole bunch of them away to the neighbor kids.
I know you did. So we'll see what happens. But because we do get a lot of questions on what we do to stay positive, and we're no different than you, we've had crisis in our life, and we've had sickness, different things happening, death, divorce, all of the things that a lot of people go through. But it's really how we deal with it. And that's the one thing that we're going to share with you, is being healthy as you possibly can. So I am going to start out by talking about this book. This isn't a new book. This is do I want to say an old book?
No, just say
but it's still current.
a wise book.
A wise book, exactly. So the 6 steps to the fountain of youth. In fact, I was asking my husband today a couple of questions on what was it? Why did you write this book? And why did you call it the 6 steps to the fountain of youth? Because it's basically about Tri-Neuro-Genics, the mind-body-spirit connection, right? Right?
Yeah, the trilogy, which we speak of so often, is the mind is the map, the body is the vehicle, and the fuel is the spirit. And it's that playing that, looking at that ball in the air, so to speak, to be able to improve your life and to be able to find something that really interests you where you can build up a passion for it. Living life with a passion enables you to put good hormones, help prevent cancer and heart disease by simply having a beautiful attitude. But to have a beautiful attitude, it requires doing a lot of things that are not difficult, but taking the time to do them. Most people want it right now. They don't believe that they... And the other thing is, we have unlimited power, and I like to refer to it unlimited potential. I refer to it better as we have unlimited power. Power gives us a better feeling, but the reason that people lose their power, they give it up because they don't believe they have it. That's the unfortunate. We all have this power inside of us. It's directing that power to help improve our life, and there are certain things that you need to do to maintain that.
Exactly. And you know, the one thing I love about interviewing you on our show is because I've heard this for how many years? 22 years. but I always glean something from it. Or you might make the delivery a little bit different, so I pull something else from it. And I mean, it's just phenomenal because you used me as an example when I was working an overnight shift against my circadian rhythms at the Home Shopping Network. I had to sleep in the daytime and then do my show in the middle of the night. And if it wasn't for my husband, who was my significant other, the director of the health club that I kind of picked up when I went there because I thought he was so cute and we just clicked, and you were in the process. You just had notes about the 6 steps, and you started sharing that with me after I joined the club, and I could not believe what a difference it made, from supplements to different frequency machines and apparatus. It all came together, and a lot of that is outlined in the book in specific detail, like the light and sound machine, right? Now, how do you say that?
Electroencephalographic entrainment device.
You get that? It's brain entrainment,
now
right?
they're finding out, scientists are finding out, like strobe lights and sound actually is a good pathway to curing a lot of illnesses. Light feeds the brain. They have light and sound machines that are just phenomenal at taking us to a higher level. It's like being a Shaolin monk, being able to practice meditation for 15 years. You put on these glasses and the sound and the lights flashing, and that gives you almost immediate progress as far as being able to relax and put in the good chemicals in the body. That meditation does. It's a shortcut to meditation. Powerful.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because you're back doing that. And one of the reasons why he is back doing some of these things that actually he did even, I would say, tenfold when you were in competition, because it took this laser beam focus in order to get in the ring, excuse me, and compete like you did. I want you to give us a little overview on those days and the 6 steps, excuse me, and how it affected you when writing this book.
Well, at first it was for myself. It was a personal thing, trying to change my paradigm myself as being a loser because of my coach and my stepfather. I could do nothing right. And as a result, when I did break out of that mode and change my direction and be able to realize that inside of all of us is a world champion, we just have to be able to know that and realize it and how to tap into that. That's why I wrote the book, because at first it was all me. But then I'd have people come up to me, how did you do that? How are you able to do that? And I felt it was selfish to really keep that in myself and not spread the word. Because it's not that difficult to know, but it's difficult to take the time to do it. So when I teach people or share this with people, I always like to be able to know that they're able to do something a little bit better than they did before I talked to them or worked with them or whatever.
And so when you were writing this book, it was really as a result of you researching the researchers, researching different programs, and putting your own together. And, excuse me, we were just talking before the show. I don't know, I've got a little frog in my throat here. And we were talking just before the show, and it was one word that we can all use in our lifestyle, and that's discipline, right?
Right. Discipline is not a bad terminology, but a lot of people look disciplined, oh, I don't want to discipline myself for anything. And that's such a sad feature, because there's so much to life if you just open your mind instead of closing it. Well, the difference between a parachute and the mind is they have to be open before they work.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
That is definitely the truth.
It's the bloody truth.
Yeah, and you know, as of late, my husband has been watching the Bruce Lee episodes, and he showed me a few scenes from it the other day, a few segments, and I thought, my goodness, you two are very parallel. He was a cha-cha dancer. You were a cha-cha dancer. He danced in the ring. My husband did the tango in the ring when he's bouncing around, trying to get his opponents to you know, land a score on him. And it was just really amazing. So the life that you've led is really fascinating. But you don't have to be a martial artist to live the martial way.
No,
right?
you don't. You don't, because it's the same principle. To go in a ring and win a world championship, it's the same principle to use if you want to be the best father, mother, best school teacher. It's all basically in the same principles of that. It's everything in life is a formula. Just like when they asked Professor Einstein on his deathbed, the reporters were there with their pads. They said, Professor Einstein, what is the greatest force in the universe? It is E equals mc squared, which is atomic energy. He said no, and immediately he said, the most powerful force in the universe is imagination. And really think about that. Nothing works without imagination. When we're children, when we're young adults, we have this wild imagination. But as we get older, we lose it.
I don't.
No, well, you don't. You got it personified. Sometimes I have trouble keeping up with you.
I know, it's crazy. I love imagination because it's something that is free, and you can do it anytime, anywhere, and it makes you feel good.
Yeah, and then in turn, by using the word power, by using the word challenge, and things like that, it's the verbiage that you choose to think in your head. It's the verbiage that extracts from your mouth that makes the difference between what you become and what you are and where you've been. The key thing is keeping your eyes in the future and your hands on the present.
That's right. Very well said. You ought to write a book. Another book. You actually have several books in the works. Champion the Champion Within, which is basically the concept of this book, even though you use this for your daily living and training in the martial arts. But we're going to go through and sort of touch and delve a little bit deeper into the chapters. We've kind of surface skimmed over the years in doing these shows. But today, because we do have a strong 2020 vision for the year 2020, and everything, I mean everything we're doing and saying and thinking and believing is laser beam focus. And when we're laser beam focused, it's no different than when you were laser beam focused when you were in the ring. It was amazing. I was there many, many times watching that.
Well, they say attention is the weapon of the super warrior. Attention develops concentration. Concentration develops spiritual power. And spiritual power is the most powerful force in the universe. All from the ability to be able to focus and use your attention to gain the things that you want out of life, picturing them as already being acquired.
And what you think about, you bring about. So let's delve in. I ask you about the chapter, which I have them highlighted here in yellow, The Dragons of Aging. And you gave me a quick little rendition of that about precognitive commitment that Deepak Chopra has actually spelled out for us. And I want you to just touch on that.
Yeah, premature cognitive commitment is when we see other people growing old, we feel that we need to grow old. That's what's going to happen to us. The way they wear their hair, the way they think, they hang around the same people that complain about the same sicknesses and so on. Rather than hanging around with people that they can learn from, they usually hang around with people that they are attached to through, what's the word I'm looking for?
Yes.
Anyway, it was a senior.
Like minds.
No, well, yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, you could say I was looking for a specific word, but that just went out the door. So that happens once in a while. So anyway, it's not be codependent on people. That's the word I was looking for, codependency. You expect other people to make you happy, even though they're not concerned about you being happy.
Well, and the other thing is when you have a tendency to be around people that, and of course we care about our friends and our family, the last thing that we want to get into is overcare, which is described in your book.
Yeah, and the overcare is usually women have more overcare than men because they're responsible for the family. The women are created to be a little bit more created to be more sensitive to things. That's why men need to realize that we're not the same as women, and that women depend on us to be the rock, to be the. And when I say being the rock, if there is a situation that's personal, a tragedy in the family, it's up to the man. And I'm not being chauvinistic. It's up to the man to sort of, what would I say? To sort of make sure everything goes right as much as possible, and taking that responsibility.
But I think over time, women have taken on that role from time to time.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if we've been a single mom. Right, moms? I had to do that. And I guess you were in training for me, because I don't know if I would want to deal with me sometimes, because I just keep going, and like you, the Energizer Bunny, but for the right reasons and for goodness, and to share with others. I wanted to also talk about the key to Tri-Neuro-Genics, which is the key to life. And again, if you're just tuning in, Tri-Neuro-Genics is?
With the mind, the body, and the emotions.
And
Tri stands for 3, neuro is the nervous system, and genics is the composite of all that. Like I said, everything in life is a formula. And if you make a formula out of it, like, for example, the one formula that I used for many years to help me become very successful in the sports, in my business eventually, and get away from my childhood paradigm where I felt like I was a loser and so on, is Q plus Q times S equals success, the amount of success. The Q stands for the quality of your life plus the quantity of things that you do to support that life as positive, times the spirit and harmony in which that life is lived. That gives you the amount of success. Everything is wrapped around the times factor, is the spirit and harmony. We're in this world for a short period of time. Why mess it up? Enjoy life like every day was your last day, because you'd be surprised how much difference that makes. Just attitude is a small thing that makes a big difference. Just like if you're going to train for a job or profession, 85% of what you're going to get to be a good manager or owner is your attitude. The other 15 to 20% is the knowledge, the product knowledge. People put the product knowledge and knowing this verbatim and that, this and that, and they consider that the main factor. But it's not so much what you do, it's the manner in which you do it, your perception of it.
And we talk about perception until we're blue in the face, because I'll tell you, perception can ruin relationships, it can ruin friendships, it can even ruin a conversation when the perception of something that someone might say is perceived in a way that you never intended it, right?
Right. Well, words are very powerful, and the problem is, challenges, I should say, is that with words you got to realize that the real force of communication is the feeling, not the words. The problem with people don't understand it, and they don't think about how hurtful words can be and how devastating words can be from the right or wrong person.
You know, that is so true. So you wrote this book. We just talked about why, you know, the dragons of aging, and you can see it anywhere and everywhere. People see others growing old, and they figure that, okay, well, it's supposed to be that way. Well, no, it's not. Speaking of perception, what you perceived is you see that. But I'll tell you, when you take your life really seriously, I was listening to the radio today. I don't mean to interrupt myself here, but I was listening to the radio today, and they were interviewing a gentleman that wrote a book called Love Yourself. Love yourself like tomorrow would be the last day of your life. In other words, living every day like it could be your last. You just said that moments ago.
Right.
And so when you really take accountability for your life and your health, and know that you are a leader in your family and you want to lead by example, we were just talking about that before the show too, is walking the talk. That is so important. I think we do pretty good about that. I do have to admit, though, my husband's way better than I am. But I'm working on it. I'm always a work in progress. I mean, he takes his supplements right on the spot every day at the right time of the day. He goes to the gym every day and works out. He gets on the trampoline every day, or I should say the rebounder, the mini rebounder, because that was part of his training when he was in training to compete, which we just actually we talked about that last week when we did our show.
And something I want to add to that, it's not like I wear a medal bragging about what I have.
No, I get to do that.
You know what I'm about to say.
Oh, I know.
The thing is being prepared in life so that when things do happen, like you get a terminal disease or you are in a health situation that you can't control, the biggest thing is not look at that as a death sentence. Always find a way to be able to make the best out of what the situation that you have or are in.
Yes.
And that's why I have gotten, unfortunately, Parkinson's disease. However, it's not affecting me like it would the normal person because of the fact of the way I'm trained to think. So the same thing that you can do the same thing that I'm talking about by just being able to look at the three things, the mind, the body, and the emotion. Work on the one like which one is the ball in the air. When you do, what's the word I'm looking for? Juggling. You always want to keep your eye on the ball in the air. Mm-hmm. The same thing with life. You want to keep your eye on where your weak link is and work on that. If your weak link is emotions, then you can work on controlling emotions. If your weak link is physical, you can take care of that. If your weak link is spiritualism, you can take care of that. So there's so much that you can, there's so many books out there, so many different tapes and so on, that you can be a professional in any given area within 3 to 5 years.
You know, and that's what you've done all these years ever since. When did you start doing your research and reading and studying and seminars, working with Tony Robbins, and I mean, some, you know, really hitting home the knowledge that others have been out there and working with people, and it works. And so you took like you say, you call yourself an eclectic.
Right.
And you put your own program together based on what worked for you. And this was before I met my husband. And it works. And this book is like, it's like a manual. It truly is like a manual. And if you're ready, I'm ready to start with week 1, which is chapter 3. And it's about let's get physical. That's where we start, right?
It starts with getting physical. Exercise. Because then everything works around that. Because if you don't exercise, for example, if you're 35 years of age and you don't exercise, that you lose 0.12% of your physical capabilities. And
really? At 35?
Then by the time, I meant to say 2% of your physical capabilities. So by the time you turn 60, at 2% per year, you lose 50% of your physical abilities, and that fits with the mental abilities too. So wow. 2% a year, at the end of 6 years, you lost 50%. The key thing is when you take an exercise, then as you're aging, you only lose 0.5%. Which means you only lost 12.5% by the time you turn 60, from 35 to 60. You only lost 12.5% of your physical capabilities and your mental capabilities, because they go hand in hand, basically. The key thing is you can even do better than that if you have a good exercise program, eat the right supplements, and do all the things that can help. Find things that you can be passionate about and live your life like it was the last day. Then you can get better than 0.5%. Mm-hmm. You can change it. Actually, this is hard for people to believe. You can be better than the average person. At 65 years of age, you can be better shape than the average 20-year-old. That's true. Because the average 20-year-old doesn't do what they should do, the things I'm talking about. They're too busy having
Too whatever. Busy with this?
They're too busy.
Too busy with this, and there are some, I don't want to put everybody in that category, but I mean, I wasn't thinking about that when I was 18, 19. Heck, I was getting married at that time. And but I was always interested in health, wellness from a natural point of view. In fact, I found the old book. Remember when Jane Fonda did her exercising way back when? Oh my goodness. I swear I gained an inch in my height just by doing stretch and tone. I swear. But anyway, that was my start. And then I had my first child. But I've always been into health and wellness. And, you know, as you say, it's so true that when we take the best care that we can of ourselves, when crisis hits, or even something like the flu, we do have a better shot at healing ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, look what happened to me a couple of years ago. I went down on the dance floor doing the peppermint twist and not wearing my dance shoes, torn meniscus and ACL. And I found ways through that the Beamer mat, and I did not go for the surgery, but I had been exercising, a lot of dancing, dancing with the local stars, and just always being active and feeding my brain with good thoughts and positivity. Look at you. You had the melanoma, that was about 3 years ago, overcame that, and with the P word, I don't even give it the energy to call it, you know what I'm saying. And you are doing absolutely phenomenal, and that's why a few weeks ago I was just saying in the beginning of the show that we're going to be talking about up-to-date things that we are doing or we're digging into our toolbox and reminding, why aren't we still doing that? And I said, hon, you are the happiest when you're in training to compete.
That's
because
true.
It's been in your blood ever since I've been with you, and then before that. And the purpose of it has always been to prove the human synergy that when you take care of your body, it takes care of you. And look at what's going on in the world today. If we had to run like the Dickens to get out of a place that is being compromised, you know what I'm talking about, and I don't even want to give it the energy. We've got a better shot if we keep our body fat down and we keep our cardio up too, right?
Absolutely.
I hate to talk about things like that, but this is the truth. This is an open mic. I mean, we're coming from our hearts to yours. Why this is so important for us? Because we know it's important for you. And if we can share some of these tips and save you from digging up the research that my husband has done, and I've done since I've been with him and before, but not like he has. And I mean, we've studied with Deepak Chopra. If you don't know, he's an MD, and he is amazing. Talk about energy and God and just everything. In fact, we have his new book coming tomorrow, Metahumans. That, I know that's going to be interesting, all about consciousness, and I'm looking forward to that. We'll do a book report if you're interested. Also, I wanted to share with you that once we started getting physical, that is the first thing that I learned, while you were writing chapter 1, because I hadn't been working out. When I was going to the studio at HSN, I had to prepare for my show. By the time I got out of there, I was very tired in the morning, and I'd go to see if my mom would need anything, and then I'd go home and get ready to hit the hay so that I could sleep and get up and do it all over again. And the first thing you said to me is, you've got to find a way to get into the gym and be physical. And honestly, it was so true. And I didn't do a lot. I'd come in, get on the treadmill, and I'd do a few of the machines and all, and almost immediately I started feeling better. That's the best thing, is to get physical. Ride a bike. Get a mini trampoline like you've been doing now. And when he gets off that mini trampoline, he puts on soundscapes and he gets the Latin beat going. And of course, while he's doing that, I'm dancing around the house with the beat, doing the bachata or the salsa or whatever. And music's good for the soul, right?
Right, and we call it a rebound, the mini trampoline. And it's one of the most effective ways of exercise and getting very quick results in the body, in the mind, and emotion. Because especially doing the great music that excites you, and movement and breathing when you're doing it, it's one of the fastest ways of getting rid of body fat, being able to have every muscle in the body working synergistically with all the other muscles, and being able to get rid of what we call blood protein blockage, where the protein in the blood seeps through the capillaries and suffocates the cell because of stress, because of poor diet. So when you're on the rebounder, it's like it squeezes all that bad toxins out of the body into when we eliminate, and also when we sleep, we can eliminate a lot of toxins because of the fact that we perspire. So that's why when you wake up in the morning after sleeping, you should get, first thing to do is get a full glass of water, because you're dehydrated, and that helps you maintain the day with a higher amount of efficiency. Just like I'm into drag racing, not lately, but in my past I've had a lot of fast cars. And one thing about a powerful engine, if you want your engine yourself to be powerful, you need to put the right fuel into it.
Of course.
And it makes sense, doesn't it? Like if you take, in my Trans Am that I had, over 500 horsepower, if I put regular gasoline in it, it wouldn't run worth a darn. I'd have to put a special high-tech gasoline in it. Well, same thing with yourself. You want to put the high-tech stuff in your body. 75% of what you eat should be water-soluble fruits and vegetables.
That's
the other
in the book.
20%, whatever you want to eat. And if you don't exercise, that isn't so much predominant as far as the benefits. But if you exercise with that and meditate each day, a little bit of meditation, then there's so much that works. It's like a synergism working in the proper way. It's like a domino effect. Rather, the poor domino effect, those that don't exercise and eat right, ever eat right, hardly at all, they've got a very serious challenge coming up because they're going to have to pay the price somewhere down the line.
Exactly. Now, you say you can eat whatever you want. I think you need to clarify that. That doesn't mean going and eating red meat every day and pizza every night.
It's 20% of what you eat.
Within reason.
Water soluble. I meant to say, what did I say, 20% of what you eat? No, it's 80% of what you eat, 85% of what you eat should be fruits and vegetables. The other 15 or 20% can be with moderacy. Like I like carrot cake, so
and you do get that every once in a while.
Now, if I was diabetic, obviously I wouldn't be able to do that, so I don't recommend somebody that's diabetic that they follow that program. But the key thing is being able to minimize the bad and accentuate the good. And then you're exercise your mind, your emotions, your body every single day. How do you exercise your mind? Read. They always say readers make better leaders, and leaders better be a reader because they don't make a good leader if they don't read.
That's true. That's very true. So, okay, we're on week 2, and we have not a full show left, just about a half a show left. So, we're delving in deeper than we ever have before. So, week 2 is the ABCs and more of supplements. Why do we need supplements?
Well, we do the supplements because, first of all, food does not give us the nourishment that we need because you need 60 trace minerals to be healthy, and in the soil that the farmers use now, there's only 3 trace minerals in the soil. So as a result, you're 90-some% free of what you should have as a program of making sure you get those minerals, those 60, at least minimum of 60 minerals, to be able to facilitate what the soil doesn't do anymore. Vitamins can be made by fruit, and vitamins can be made by growing, but the soil doesn't give you the minerals that you need.
Right.
So you got the vitamins, but you're lacking the minerals, so that's a big unbalance. You don't benefit from the benefit from, I should say, the vitamins if you don't have the minerals to go with it. It's not that complicated.
It's not that complicated, but I remember when I first started my research, gosh, I was just a young girl. I was like 17 or 18, and I went into Harry Zerbo's health food store up in Michigan. And I was just taken in by the knowledge that this man had. And I've never looked off to the side. It's always been holistic, natural, organic. It's not that we don't believe in doctors. We do when absolutely necessary. But if we can become accountable and give ourselves the knowledge that we need, then that's what we choose to do. I brought 2 supplements in that we feel very strongly about. And, excuse me, we're not saying that this is going to cure anything that's going on with you, but it's just a supplement that you may want to consider that has done very, very well for ourselves. This is one called Green Vibrance, and it's from Vibrant Health. You can order it from them, or if you're locally, we go to Earth Origins down in Palm Harbor, and we don't get paid. This isn't a commercial for them. This is just sharing with you what works. And one of the reasons why we love this is, you know, you hear all about superfoods, all this superfood talk, plant-based superfoods. There's a lot of truth to that. We've done the research on it. But what's great about this is it also has your probiotics that helps with the gut, and you're probably hearing all about gut health. Guess what? We've noticed to have a few little issues, so we thought, okay, let's do this. Let's just try this. And it's working. But what else it has are your building blocks of protein in amino acids. right?
That's the building
Can
block
you
of the
touch a
body.
little bit about amino acids? There's some essential, there's this, there's that. The body can produce some, but then there's some that
Well,
you
there
can't.
are some that you have to produce on your own.
Yes.
And there's some that the body manufactures it. It's knowing that knowledge, being able to, and all you have to do is when you get these type of, what I say, superfoods, it tells you what to do.
Yes.
It tells you all about
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Thank good. One of the good things government has done is made these places, these vitamin stores and so on, put what's actually in the ingredient. That doesn't always mean it really is.
Yeah.
But most of the time they have to follow that program pretty safe. That's why that maximum vibrance is phenomenal.
Right.
As far as being able to give you all the things, minerals, and the different things that you need, vitamins, minerals, and the
Amino acids. Amino acids.
and amino acids.
Yeah,
right.
it's really complete because I spend a long time in the store to see what's out there, and sometimes we'll order things online. Another thing that we've done, and you especially recently, because you were having a little bit of a gut issue, which has all been resolved, but grass-fed collagen. This is by Garden of Life. We also get this down at Earth Origins in Palm Harbor. And these are peptides of collagen. And these too have probiotics and amino acids. So what I love about this is that it works. And, you know, these both taste good. They actually taste good. You put this in your coffee every morning. There's actually no taste to it. You can probably put it in water if you want. And the other supplements that we take, well, it's not a big, long list. We take what we feel that we need with CoQ10, magnesium, potassium, calcium. What else?
Well, you want a good array of B complexes.
B complex too. Oh,
and
definitely.
not just one vitamin
Definitely.
B.
Definitely.
Because you have to have a series. When you do just one or two, it doesn't work as well. But when you get the B2, the vitamins that you don't hear too much, or I should say, the B complexes that you don't hear too much about, but they're very important. If you have a series of these B complexes, it really makes a big difference in your overall health and fitness.
You know, when you're not doing anything and you notice things really change, and it does make a difference in your quality of how you feel every day, and making sure you get enough rest, and just, you're right, it's not rocket science, but there are many of our viewers out there that maybe are wondering, well, what about this, what about that? You can always call us. We don't have all the answers, but we do have a few, and we still have so much to learn. At almost 72 and almost 82, we still have stuff to learn, right? I just want to do a shout out, though, because we have somebody with us today, Miss Tammy White. I see you on Facebook there, and I just want to say special hello. Thanks for joining us, and it's nice to have you with us here today. Hopefully you're learning a little bit of something from us. It's time for week 3, champ. Week 3 is Eat and Enjoy. Nutrition and diet, which we've kind of really talked about that, right?
Right.
So maybe you'd like to know what we eat. We try to do organic for whatever organic means. We feel very good about that, especially after doing research on some of the various diseases, including Parkinson's disease, and what many of these diseases can be caused from pesticides, right? Additions, artificial foods, and the GMOs, and all these different things that can actually cause dis-ease in the body. And so we do anything and everything we can to combat that. Now, what else can you add? Just so you know, my husband happens to be a certified sport nutritionist, so he knows a little bit about what he's talking about. Right?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, still learning more, though.
Very humble, though. So, okay, so you talked about the percentages of food earlier on, but it worked.
Yeah.
What else?
75%, 20% of the foods that we like that maybe aren't healthy, as long as that 75, 80% are healthy, then the unhealthy ones do not hurt you that bad. The pleasure they give you sometimes can overcome the fact that it's not the best food in the world. But again, that's not that much because it's only 15, 20% of what you eat.
Right. We try to stick with fish, chicken, we both love salmon and cod, and I find different ways to make it with a lot of garlic. We use a whole lot of garlic. Fresh garlic, organic garlic, because it really does add to it. We don't eat a lot of red meat, but I will say that we will eat red meat every now and again. Sometimes I'll mix it with some turkey or pork or what have you, but we have that down to a real minimum after we did research on what that can do to the arteries. There was something else that I wanted to say about the foods. Oh, you know what else we do is a lot of quinoa. That's very healthy for us, right? Seeds and nuts and things, the gathering foods, right? We love
Right.
that. But if you want to know anything else, oh, I know what I was going to say. If you ever want to know anything, feel free to text us, call us. We're always available. I was just reading some of the notes in here. One thing that I want you to touch, because we're less than 17 minutes, and I still have a couple chapters to go. If you can tell everyone that is out there today, one of the most important things, if you eat red meat, like a big red meat meal, one of the reasons why some people end up having a heart attack in the middle of the night, what my husband is about to tell you can save your life or save the lives of someone else, right?
Well, that's absolutely correct. The key thing, when we eat a lot of fats, the fat uses up the oxygen. So in a lot of cases, when a person's well overweight and they eat a lot of fatty food, it starves the heart of oxygen. And a lot of heart attacks happen on holidays, on times that people eat more than normal. That's when they're more subject to a heart attack. The way you overcome that, obviously, is anytime you eat red meat, it shouldn't be more than the palm of your hand. And again, it really makes, over a period of time, a big difference. Not overnight, but over a period of time, it really makes a difference, like I said, a big difference, because of the fact that you're putting good things in the body and not bad things in the body. And
Exactly.
there was something I was going to mention that slipped my mind. Oh, the key thing is when you wake up in the morning, to really help yourself, starting off physically with a good day, mentally and emotionally, is drinking a full glass of water almost immediately waking up. Because what happens is, through the night, we become dehydrated because you perspire when you sleep. So when people get up, they usually go, the first thing they do is get their coffee or their tea.
That would be me.
And that actually works as a detergent in a sense.
A diuretic.
A diuretic, right. It actually, what's the word I want to use?
Dries you out.
It actually helps eliminate glycation. Glycation is where the red cells can't get into the capillaries, so they attach themselves to some proteins. If you drink a lot of water, that gets those toxins out of the body before they start that process. So that's why the first thing when you get up in the morning, and right when you go to bed at night, a glass of water, even though you might have to make a trip in the middle of the night, because that way it facilitates, it thins the blood a little bit. Reason most heart attacks are in the morning, because the blood is thicker. That's why people usually have their heart attacks sooner in the morning than later in the evening or during the day.
And that happens a lot. It does. Thank you for that. So week 4, now if you have watched our shows for almost, is it after 5 years now? I've lost track, but I know we're close to 160 episodes here. You have heard us talk shamelessly about reducing your stress levels, because it puts the worst chemicals into the blood. It's almost like poison dripping into the blood on a regular basis. Right, hon?
Absolutely. Stress is the #1 killer. Premature, we all have to leave at some time in our life, but the key thing is the quality of life. You can live to be 100, but the quality of life, if you don't handle stress, and chances are you won't live to be 100 if you can't handle stress, is not good. I mean, I teach at these retirement centers, Qigong and Tai Chi, and it's sad to see some of these people that didn't take care of themselves, how they're suffering. They're just counting the days before they die.
I know.
They're looking forward to death sometimes.
And exactly. And the knowledge, if you don't have the knowledge, I mean, you know, if they don't look into how they can live more optimally, but the ones that come to your class are pretty darn fit. And we have some students, in fact, up at Timber Pines in Spring Hill where we teach, we have couples that come back that had left for whatever reason, and they come in, we need your class again because our balance is now being affected. And sure enough, because the last thing you want to do is take a fall. So we teach balance, we teach breathing, we teach reduction of stress, and it happens. We can get you de-stressed in less than 1 minute, and that's for sure through our heart math training and all of that. And it really does work through the deep breathing and the guided imagery and the imagination that we talked about in the beginning of the show. So tune into our shows because they're going to be getting meatier as we go along. We're going to be bringing you more and more information because we are nonstop with that 2020 vision. So week 4, we're going to go through week 5 and then week 6. Reducing your stress. In order to reduce your stress, would you say that your attitude and outlook, which is outlined in Chapter 5, a big part of reducing your stress?
Oh, absolutely. And I teach, when I do my seminars, I tell people, treat things of stress as like the dragon. Mm-hmm. And what, like I say in my book, How to Slay the Dragon Without Drawing a Sword.
Oh, yes, you do.
Is a metaphor for basically when you are able to handle stress. A great book written by Anna Weiss, The High Performance Mind. She states the high performance mind is the one that can live consciously in your being able to call any emotion to be able to handle a situation. High performance mind is one that can at will raise a state of consciousness that is most beneficial and rewarding. And the thing that is good about that is once you become a master of handling stress, a stress master as I call it, your value as a human being is so much greater. You're thinking more than what a human being. We are more than what a human being is. We're a spiritual being. The Orientals believe that we are energy beings more so than matter. Mm-hmm. They feel the body is just a means of transportation on this earth. So that's why those things, can you imagine anybody that can handle any situation emotionally? They're a valuable commodity. There's just not enough people that can do that. And it takes time. But the point of it is using stress. If you put stress backwards, spell it backwards, it's desserts. If you stress backwards, it's desserts. Make your stress desserts. You become the stress master. And that takes practice. The key thing is when you have a negative thought, replace it with a good thought. Mm-hmm. Go back in time immediately and go to a time in your life when you felt good and try to capture that emotion at the moment. And that can be done with practice.
Yeah, practice makes perfect.
I recommend taking your computer and go and find the Heart Math.
Heart Math Institute. My husband's certified through Heart Math Institute, and you actually went to the mountains 2 times to get certified, and everything is documented through Heart Math, and there's a lot of the exercises in here. The 1-minute stress management, actually, we sold that program on Home Shopping Network in less than 5 minutes because my viewers were asking, how do you and your husband stay so happy and bubbly and all this and that? Well, these are just some of our secrets, but the secrets are all out for you to enjoy because we want you to live a happy life. Hey, life hasn't always been a bowl of cherries for us, right, hon?
Right.
Sometimes, many times, we felt like we were in the pits, but we pulled ourselves out through this training, the mastery, the self-mastery. And believe me, it goes right back to the word discipline. In disciplining yourself, that when something happens to you, it's how you perceive it and how you can step back, about counting a few deep breaths or counting to 10 or whatever. You just go right into your heart. And like you were saying, think of something really pleasant, and it changes the cells, right?
Absolutely. Well, everything is a vibration. Mm-hmm. And love has a certain vibration frequency. Hate has a vibration frequency. The key is to hang around or in your environment people that help increase your frequency positively,
right,
rather than decrease it. And a lot of people that hang around with people because of the fact that they're codependent. The key thing is codependency can rob you of a lot of the wonderful joys of being able to motivate your own success rather than have somebody else tell you what to do. It's like being a director of your movie. So your life is like a movie, and either you're the director of the movie or somebody else is the director of your movie.
Boy, that's
most
true.
people are not the director of their own movie. Somebody else is directing their movie.
I know.
The key thing is you can be a character in your movie, and that is even stronger. If you are the director of your movie and you are a character in your movie, then you can manipulate that character to the way you want to manipulate or maneuver them. That's a better word. And as a result, it really makes a big difference. Life is too short to be little, and the key thing is be the director of your movie. Just like I did years ago, I decided how I wanted my movie to turn out. And exactly, step by step, everything that I wished for, everything with the exception of one thing. I'm working on a movie now. And
the real movie.
And it will be out. That's my only goal that I haven't achieved yet is that movie. And
Before
hopefully
we
in the near
leave the
future,
planet.
because that's the best way to get this message out to people.
We're hoping to actually maybe have it in a TV series and a movie or a documentary or whatever. We have big plans for it, and you can pray right along with us because that's where you're really going to see the whole story. I mean, the real story of what you went through and then how we met. And yes, there is life and love after tragedy. And that's how we all came together. I wanted to go into week 6 real quick because I have a couple dedications out there before we close our show out. But week 6 is unlimited bliss and state management. What does that mean to you?
Well, the key thing is to learn to be happy in spite of things rather than because of things. It's easy to be happy for a day or two when you win the lottery or something like that. But the key is to learn to be happy when things are not going the right way for yourself. Because there's no such a thing as wrong as long as you can learn by it. So first of all, the thing is never use the word problem, ever. Challenge replaces problem. And that really makes a big difference in your life. And by the way, going back, just go to your computer, heartmath.com. It's one word, heartmath.com. And that will give you a lot of ideas of things that will help you in your life more than I could in 100 years.
You know, that's true. And one of the things that is in your book that was another thing I was trying to remember was you always say, one of the things that changed my life was when you told me that 5 minutes of an angry thought, whatever it may be, will dump between 6 and 8 hours of bad chemicals into the system. Whereas 5 minutes of a loving thought increases the love hormones in your body. So I want to leave you with that note. Love is the most powerful healing emotion on the planet. And when you can learn the self-mastery of everything you do, you come from love. It's going to make a difference in your life and the lives of those around you. One of the things that we've done, when you told me to do this, I thought, oh, this is really going to work. Really, really, really? But everything else you told me worked, so okay. So I put the rubber band on my wrist. You said, don't go past 2 minutes, because remember, the 5 minutes of an angry thought puts the bad chemicals. So he said, when you can do this for 7 days, you're home free. And what happened after the what? 3rd or 4th day?
Well, if you can't make the 7 days, like when I first did this, I made it to 4 days, and on the 4th day, I went over the 2 minutes. I tapped the rubber band, it didn't work. So I got so frustrated because the fact that I had 4 days where I did good, I wasn't going to let that stop. So then I went back and started all over again, and guess what? I made it through the 7 days. And once you make it through the 7 days, your life is never the same. You never, ever want to be past the 2 minutes. 5 minutes at the worst, because one angry thought, like Barb said, one angry thought can lower your immune system for 6 to 8 hours.
Isn't that crazy?
So can you imagine angry thought could be a jealousy thought, could be unforgiveness thought, anything on a negative vibration held for 5 minutes or more, that IgA level, which is your first line of immune defense, is deteriorated. And that's such a shame, but most people don't know this. So that's why knowledge is so powerful when you have the right knowledge of what to do. And because of the fact I've been an eclectic, an eclectic of the eclectic, so to speak, I was able to save hundreds of years of research in a simple form and matter of a book.
That's right.
Two books that I recommend to be able to, and you wouldn't need another book if you want to be successful, is my book and the Bible.
Oh, thank you. We said that last week, too, as well.
I should say first the Bible and my book.
Yes, yes, in that order. But there is a lot of information on this, and we'll share more and more. Next week, we're going to be back, and we have some special guests. We're going to be talking about some other things that we're doing in our personal life. We're not trying to sell you on anything. We're trying to educate you. And it's just like these supplements where I gave a free plug to the Earth Origins down in Palm Harbor, so that you can check these products out, because we are really, we're sold on them for life. I mean, unless something comes along better. And if it does, we'll keep you updated. But next week, we're going to be talking about some of the other things that we're doing for pain, and also a particular sock that is very, very interesting that I think you might want to hear about. You may already know about it. But do you have anything else to say, my friend?
No, I think that you
and
covered
colleague?
Quite well. The one thing that I wanted to mention about the collagen is that it helps prevent wrinkles.
Oh, yeah, but again, we're not making any claims here.
We didn't
like
really
that.
mention that earlier.
That's right. Well, yeah, I mean, that's collagen is, and I just learned this. Collagen is through the entire body. So if you want any more personal information, all you have to do is contact us. But I do want to do a shout out. I see Tammy and some other people are watching the show here today, and I'm thankful for John Gaston for setting that up so that we know out here on the set. If you have any questions you want to ask us, you can always do that on Facebook. But we have a very special person we want to say hello to, and hopefully you are watching, and if not today, we will be pushing our show out on Facebook, and that happens to be Mr. Gary Weston. We want to thank you for the wonderful conversation that we had over the weekend, and you signed up for WeBeamTV.com, so you're in, so you're going to have to listen to us now every Monday. But you have a wonderful evening, as well as everyone else, and again, if you have any questions whatsoever, you can always get a hold of us, and we'll be happy to answer. We got to go. We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot. God bless.